And I know the talk now, because Manchester City won this game, is that the title race is back on, which I find puzzling, to be honest, because the title race was always on. But the narrative farmers out there and click farmers and engagement farmers out there have been trying to sell this as a foregone conclusion so that they can do something like this. The weekend, going into the weekend, most of these people were saying Arsenal have won the league. Da, 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 da. Arsenal went into the league, into the weekend of Premier League fixtures, 6 point ahead of Manchester City, right? They won their game. Manchester City won their game. It's as we were. But if you look at TalkSport, Sky Sports, probably rival content creators as well to a degree, and some Arsenal fans, not the ones I listen to and talk to anyway. Title race is back on. Was it ever not on? You know what I mean? Like, people are talking too much out of both sides of their mouths when it comes to this title race talk. And if I'm being 1,000% honest, I think any person who is able to apply some critical thinking is able to see through this. However, through the emotion of watching different games and listening to commentary, I've kind of stopped, but I do, I can't avoid it because it's everywhere. But I've sort of stopped. I mean, I was listening to Lee Dixon, the way he talks, you can tell he is a Manchester City fan. I know he's an Arsenal legend. He played for Arsenal. But a lot of the time when he opens his mouth, I don't want to say I believe this, but I've heard opinions from some people saying they wonder if some of these old Arsenal players who are now in the media are speaking so harshly of this group of Arsenal players because maybe they are jealous or whatever. I don't subscribe to that. I don't think it's as deep as I don't want this team to succeed because they're going to be better than me. They're going to be considered the same level as me. I just think people support the clubs they support. And, all of us have a bias. I have a bias as an Arsenal fan, even though I try to run a football content channel that speaks about all football teams in the Premier League and some of the other leagues that I discuss. I try to be fair, just like in this case with Manchester City. I think Manchester City wanted the game. Liverpool wanted it too, but based on what we saw, I think Manchester City were the better team and they won. You know, like the referees have a bias in England, but these were two teams from the north, one playing at home. I don't feel sorry for Liverpool. City were there to be taken. They didn't play Ruben Diaz until second half. They played with Kusanov for a while, and Liverpool had the initiative to try and fight for Champions League football and maybe even have an outside chance of staying in the Premier League title race. 17 points behind Arsenal, and further, I don't know, however many behind Manchester City. They're probably not finishing top two, but top five. Fortunately for Liverpool, top five might be good enough again this year to get Champions League football. But right now, as we speak, they're sitting outside of the top five, and Chelsea and Manchester United have an advantage over them as we speak right now. Because Liverpool sits at 39 points. That's 4 points behind fifth place Chelsea. And so, I mean, that's not beyond reach, but to lose at home and to drop as many points at home as they have, with Champions League football coming back and FA Cup and all these other things, it's going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky for all these teams because the Premier League is a very, very competitive, robust league. Like, I think people keep saying, because they don't see the results that we used to seeing, they keep looking at it from a negative standpoint. I think it's the strength of the league that teams are not running away with games and just like winning all the time. Everybody gets runs for 5 games, maybe 6 games. Villa has had the longest run this season, which was about 10, 11 straight wins or something like that. But since then, they're going on a run now of, in the last 5 games, they've only won 1 game. 2 draws, 2 losses, 1 win. And that win came against Newcastle away. But in that stretch of 5 games, they drew 0-0 against Crystal Palace. They lost to Everton at home. They then won against Newcastle away, then lost to Brentford at home, and drew with Bournemouth in this last game away. So, and Arsenal is coming out of a slump. We'll see what happens on Thursday.